Now Gary Carter wants him to look at the ball.
No sooner than Carter swung the bat, he turns around and asks Doug Harvey to check the ball.
As the 1986 baseball season dawned, outside Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, there was a sense of hope unlike any before it in New York Mets history.
Coming into 86, we finally realized that we had the team to go all the way.
After coming up just short in 85, the Mets came into 86 loaded with confidence.
But that's a great pitch for him. Shoot. That's all you need right there.
The team's foundation was in its starting pitching, and 4 hurlers who each brought their own style to the mound.
What do you think you are capable of doing?
I think I'm capable of winning.
The staff was anchored by third-year phenom Dwight Golden.
Good fastball blows Sandberg right out of it.
While another former Rookie of the Year, Darryl Strawberry, powered the offense.
Swung on, that's the ball game.
I knew if they stayed healthy, these guys are going to put up some big numbers.
Davey Johnson was the team's manager.
Dave was from Texas, a real cocky guy. His personality filtered down to the team.
They were loaded, and Davey saw that. And in his first team meeting, he says, "This is our year. We are going to win this year. I absolutely guarantee it."
On April 14th, the Mets opened the season at home after going 2-2 on the road. Teams with championship aspirations aren't supposed to get off to rocky starts. And when the Mets played sloppily and lost the opener, some people began to question the team's chances.
I think a lot of the guys were pretty upset that we were 2-3 to start, and all of a sudden, what's wrong with us? We'll never make it, and I'm going to finish second again. And they responded to it, and they just wanted to go out there and win a few games, and luckily we went on a winning streak.
The winning streak began with a sweep of the Phillies at home as the Mets began to show the rest of the National League just what they were capable of doing.
Line drive, base hit, right center field. Mitchell scores, Mets on top 3-2. 10 strikeouts for Gooden as he wins the second game of the year.
The Mets were on a roll, and their winning ways continued. On April 21st, they trailed the Pirates by 2 runs in the 8th when Ray Knight came up with something to prove.
That is the most crucial at-bat of my career. I've never been higher for an at-bat. I've never wanted to do better or more in one at-bat. Davey had pinch hit for me the first night here against the Cardinals when a right-handed pitcher came in. I said, well, this is where it's going to be. I'm going to be on platoon row. You better accept it. So I looked back over my shoulder when I was in the on-deck circle, and I halfway expected him to pinch hit for me with a runner on first base. And he winked at me and told me I was hitting. And it was the most critical at-bat of my career. I know that Davey wanted to see what I was going to do in that situation, and I looked to hit a home run. I was swinging home run, and it's the first time in my career that I've ever wanted to hit a home run or tried to hit a home run and did.
Well hit and deep to left. This ball game is tied. Home run, Ray Knight.
I've had some great thrills, but nothing that ever compared to that singularly in a ball game. I was just
Looking back, Davey Johnson later called Knight's at-bat one of the most critical of the regular season. Not only did it help the Mets win a ball game, but it reinforced Knight's confidence as well. Then, a few days later in St. Louis, the Mets prepared to battle their arch rivals, the Cardinals, and hopefully avenge last season's bitter pennant race. In the series' first game, Howard Johnson batted with the Mets down 2 runs in the 9th and turned in a performance just as critical as Knight's.
2-2 to Howard Johnson. The Mets need a long ball. They might have it. This ball is out of here, and this game is tied. Oh, my goodness. So much for fate.
It just kind of showed that the Cardinals that we were going to be tough to beat. You know, in the previous year, they'd handle us pretty good early in the season, and we were showing them this year that we're going to handle them.
We ended up winning the ball game and sweeping them 4 straight in St. Louis. That was just a tremendous thing that we accomplished that no other team has really done, and kind of burst their bubble a little bit and got us going on the right foot.
Not running, and the curveball, throw to first, out at first base.
We had to establish with them that we could play with them and beat them. We'd be in the next 3 games fairly handily, and their season went down the hill after that. I think they had so much emotion in that series that after we beat them 4 straight, that just eliminated them from any kind of contention.
That's not to say that sweeping the Cardinals was easy. In fact, if not for Wally Backman, it might never have happened.
And a ground ball hit hard. Snap, great play by Backman to second for one. First double play. The game is over. The Mets have won the ball game. A magnificent play by Wally Backman.
In the series' final game, the newly acquired Bob Ojeda turned in his first National League complete game as the Mets beat the Cards 5-3. From there, they went on to finish the month with 13 wins and a 5-game lead over the Expos.
The Philadelphia Phillies returned to postseason play in 1980 to face the Houston Astros in a National League Championship Series that'll be long remembered.
Well, I remember, I don't want to remember. That was probably the most grueling 5-game series I've ever been involved with.
4 extra inning games. I don't think any LCS has ever had that. 4 out of the 5. The way the crowds were reacting and the adrenaline was flowing constantly. I think everybody was probably a foot off the ground for a week straight.
The drama, the excitement, the play after play, pitch after pitch, everything being on the line made that playoff as memorable as I've ever had, and of course I think one of the best in baseball history.
It was exciting, you know, it was almost nerve-wracking. You know, if you had a weak heart, you couldn't take that series.
The series moved to Houston after the team split the first 2 games in Philadelphia. The Phillies found themselves handcuffed in Game 3 by the pitching of Joe Niekro. For 10 innings, Niekro turned Philly batters aside, allowing only 6 hits and no runs. The game remained scoreless through 10 innings. A tense nail-biter that wasn't settled until the bottom of the 11th when Denny Walling's bases-loaded sacrifice fly scored Rafael Landestoy with the game-winning run for Houston. Game 4 of the series was a test of sanity.
It was a 0-0 game. It was the top of the 4th. Blake McBride and I guess Manny Trio had gotten on base hits, and Gary Maddox was up. I thought they might be bunting. I had thrown a pitch, Gary Maddox inside, trying to check to see what he might be doing. And then I seen that he wasn't bunting in that first pitch, so then on the second pitch, as I recall, I threw another fastball inside, and he took a full cut.
Back to him, he short hops, and he forgets where the buttons are. Oh, I don't know whether he caught it or not, if he short hopped it, and now we're going to have an argument. Just a moment. Did he short hop it or did he catch it? If they go back to second base, they got a triple play, depending on if he caught the ball. Now this is something. Doug Harvey and Ed Fargo, 2 of the senior umpires in the National League, having the discussion. Harvey was blocked out. He's out. It's a triple play. And the inning is over. Here comes Dallas Green. We have seen everything in this series. I do not believe it.
The umpires, after there was time called, gathered together, tried to review what they seen and what they perceived to see.
None of the umpires really had a good view of it. The guy behind home plate was blocked, he claimed, and couldn't see it. The first base guy didn't see it. Nobody really saw the play.
Well, the replay was inconclusive. It really was. I mean, I was amazed at all the different replays showed that they really couldn't tell whether he caught the ball or not.
And Dallas Green is enraged.
I kept screaming and yelling, trying to get somebody to realize that this was a key play of the game. And we even went to Chubb, who was in the stands at the time, to try to settle it. For some reason, they came up with a double play, and none of us have figured out how they came up with a double play.
You know, I still to this day don't know exactly what happened or how they made the ruling. You know, to me, the ruling was wrong, but it was, I believe it was Doug Harvey saying, well, let's get this and get it as fair as we can. Forget the rules, we get it as fair as we can.
After a 15-minute delay, the game finally resumed. Scoring 3 runs in the top of the 8th, the Phillies pushed ahead 3-2. But this one was far from over as Houston's Terry Poole stepped to the plate in the bottom of the 9th with the tying run on second.
Ball is drilled to the right side. It drops in front of McBride. Here's the runner turning for the plate. Here's the throw. The never give up Houston Astros come back. And look at this crowd.
The Phillies were shaken, but in the 10th showed true spirit.
Hit
it down the left field line toward the corner. It's bouncing off the wall. Fielded by Cruz. Here comes Rose around third. It'll take a perfect play. The throw to the plate gets away from Buxy. Rose scores.
The Phillies scored yet again to defeat Houston 5-3 and tied the series at 2 apiece. The deciding game, Game 5, was also a back-and-forth battle.
It's a fair ball down the line. Pujols with his sore foot, hammering around third. Here's the throw. Pujols coming to the plate, and he slides. He is out. Ground ball, trio over. And high. He can't make the play. Throw to the plate. They get it. Up the middle, that's a base hit. Here comes Maddox. Here comes Walling. They've got a play at the plate to throw. He's not in time.
I've never really ever heard noise. Talking about the noise in the Astrodome, but I've never heard noise like that in my life, anywhere, anytime. I mean, it just rattled the rafters. You know, we went up 5-2, and looked like with Ryan pitching well. Looked like you're going to wrap it up.
But with Nolan Ryan pitching, the Phillies mounted a remarkable rally.
That's a little looper, and it's past Reynolds, and Boa's on with a single. Here's Boone with Boa on first. Back off the pitcher's glove. There'll be no play.
That's the break they needed to keep this thing going.
2 on, nobody out. Top of the 8th inning. The bunt down the third base line. Cabell slipped, and Ryan can't make the play. Cabell was trapped at third.
Ryan would walk the last batter he would face, Pete Rose, to make the score 5-3. The Phillies would score 2 more to tie the game at 5, bringing series MVP Manny Trio to the plate.
Curveball down the left field line, base hit, going to the corner. Run scores from third. Phillies get the lead. Ball's loose in the corner. Here comes another run, and over to third goes Manny Trio. The Phillies have scored 5 runs in the 8th inning.
It's one of the greatest comebacks you will ever see in baseball.
But that 2-run Phillies lead was short-lived because in the bottom of the 8th, the Astros scored twice to tie the game at 7. With pressure at its peak in the 10th, Gary Maddox batted with a man on third.
Gary swings. It's a base hit. Poole overruns it. Run scores from third. Unser to give Philadelphia the lead 8-7 in the top of the 10th. Poole made a great try at it. He almost came up with it, then overran it a little bit. Maddox goes on into second. He hits it to right center field. Maddox going. It's over. The Phillies win it 8-7.
Finally, in September of '85, the Astros felt they needed to make a change. With the team headed for a disappointing finish once again, John McMullen decided that he needed to make some changes at the top. His first move was to select a new general manager, and the man he picked, Dick Wagner, had helped put together the Big Red Machine in Cincinnati during the 1970s.
I think Dick has brought a very, very strong managerial capability and also an excellent knowledge of the game. He's been in baseball.
My goal is to get everybody to participate, to work together, to get good people, and I think we were able to get good people.
Those good people began with manager Hal Lanier, a selection that in retrospect turned out to be nothing but brilliant. Lanier brought with him a winning style and attitude which caught the attention of his players immediately and changed the way they felt about themselves.
I think that in Lanier we found a real interesting answer to the various needs that we saw.
I'm very happy to be chosen for the managing job. When I was announced manager of the ball club, it's an opportunity for me. It was a challenge to me, and hopefully we can end up on a great note.
At the beginning of his first season, Lanier sure had the Astros start out on a great note. Thanks to a recurring pattern the past couple of seasons, the people of Houston had come to expect a slow start from the Astros. But with Lanier leading the way, 1986 was completely the opposite. Despite preseason predictions that said otherwise, the Astros got off to a quick start, winning 13 of their first 19 games. Not only were the Astros exciting their fans with winning baseball, they were also winning in exciting ways.
For Smitty to go with that curveball outside, I think, this time. Got him! Game is over. Smash to short. Pick it. Flip it. Fire it. Double play. Game is over. What a way to end it.
The pitch. And it gets away from Diaz. Houston wins 1-0.
The whole team has had the ability to contribute and to come through when the game is on the line. Might be Kevin tonight, might be Glenn another night, might be Chell Cruz another night. It could be anybody tonight.
Boy, what a tonic this could be if you could pull it out.
Oh.
Trailing by a run in the ninth. There's a drive. Way back. Going. Good night. Going. Holy Toledo, it's gone. Oh, what a win. What a game to win.
By the All-Star break, the Astros were just a game behind the surprising San Francisco Giants in first, and the rest of the country was beginning to take notice. Of course, it didn't hurt that the All-Star game was played in the Dome and that 4 Astros were named to the team. Outfielder Kevin Bass was joined as a first-time star by first baseman Glenn Davis. Of course, the Astros' vaunted pitching staff was represented too, with Mike Scott, the National League strikeout leader, and one of the game's premier relief pitchers, Dave Smith. Astro fans also got to cheer for their hometown heroes, especially Scott, who pitched 1 inning and struck out 2 batters in the American League's 3-2 win. When the season started up again, the Astros resumed their title drive and began a remarkable streak in the process. 5 consecutive times the Astros went into their final at-bat, either tied or behind, and 5 times they came away winners.
4-4 tie, 2 outs. Oh, watch it. Look out. Watch it. It's gone. Home run for Craig Reynolds. Oh, baby. And for all you fans who left early, tough luck.
The 0-2 pitch to Bass and a tap to the first baseman. Fielded by Hernandez. The throw. Too late. The Astros win. The Astros win as Thorne beats the throw by Hernandez. And they're all over the place.
Oh, this crowd is up. They're trying to see him do it for the 3rd straight game. Smash, fair ball. Astros win. Astros win. Astros win again. Astros have 2 hits as we start the bottom of the 10th inning. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye. Oh. Oh. And look at the Astros come out of the dugout. Oh, baby. 10 games over 500. It's Dickie Thon on second base with 2 outs. Single in left field. It's the game winner. The Astros win it. Davey Lopes delivers. If you haven't gotten excited yet about this 1986 Houston Astros baseball team, I don't know what it takes.
Each time there was another game out there to be won, another player did something to win it. 24 times the Astros won in their last at-bat with Lanier's style of box office baseball.
I think it says a lot about the character of the ball club, about the never say die attitude.
I think our team attitude the whole year has been never say never. And as all our come from behind games have said, we always do it.
The biggest reason why the Astros were able to do it was their pitching staff. Mike Scott's 18 wins topped a staff that included lefty Bob Nepper, who won 17. They were joined by the ageless Nolan Ryan, an up-and-coming Jim DeShays, and the versatile Danny Darwin. Then there was reliever Charlie Kerfeld, who not only became a legendary character in just his first season, but also added strength to an Astro bullpen that was anchored by Dave Smith. In '86, Smith again had an outstanding year. And with him and the rest of the Astro staff pitching extremely well down the stretch, the Astros were pulling away in the West. Astro pitchers were exciting their fans with uncommon regularity, but there were times that stood out, like the night Jim Deshaies set a modern-day Major League record.
He's got 7. He's working on 8 in a row to get this ball game underway. This is amazing. 8 consecutive strikeouts. Every player is up on the railing, applauding along with the crowd. Look at them, everybody.
Al Lanier has to feel great about his ball club right now, and they can put a banner right up next to that 1980 Western Division Championship banner with a win this afternoon. The crowd is about in their seats right now, a late arriving crowd. We should have close to 38,000 this afternoon. They're all pumped up and ready to go, and here to call the action for you is Gene Elston.
Okay, Bill, we are set to play ball here this afternoon. This is a first, of course. The Astros have not had the opportunity to clinch a division championship, but once before that was in LA, so it's home today. If they can make it, it'll be a great day for the fans. Wow. And he has plunked in the back, Dan Gladden, and the Giants have a man on base. So Gladden hit by a pitch in the first pitch of the ball game. And Gladden's running on the first pitch, and Ashby's throw is not in time and a stolen base. And with 2 pitches in the ball game, the Giants have a runner on second base. First pitch of the ball game, he hits Gladden. Steele is second on the second pitch. Now he's 3-1 on the rookie with Will Clark up next. We've just started here in the Astrodome. We're in the top of the first, and now strike 2 to the rookie Thompson.
Gene, you have alluded to it all season long, and I will second your emotion in the fact that Scott is one of the rare pitchers, along with the other one, Nolan Ryan, we have, who is able to get a strikeout when he needs it, and that's so important.
And he needs one badly right here. There is nobody out. He has 3-2 now on Robbie Thompson. And he popped him up. Craig Reynolds at shortstop. Thompson, 1 away. 1 strike here on Clark, a .292 hitter, partial season, of course, due to a injury that kept him on the disabled list for about a month and a half. And that's a fair ball. Runner goes, Gladden goes to third, 2 outs. Gladden breaking immediately on the big chop off the third base side. Alan Ashby to Glenn Davis at first base. So with 2 down, the Giants get a runner to third for Candy Maldonado. Ball 2 and strike 1 to Maldonado. And he popped him up. This will be Davis' ball. Right off the bag. Fair ball. Hit batter, Steele, move up on the ground ball. Nothing doing top half of the first inning here at the Astrodome for the San Francisco Giants. Here's Chili Davis, switch hitter. Here's that 3-1 pitch, and ball 4. So the lead man is on for the second time. That is the first base on balls that Scott has given up in 25 2/3 innings. I mentioned the Giants will run a lot on the Astros, and Scott is very vulnerable to that. There he goes. 2 strikes on Brenly's swing, and the second steal of the day for San Francisco. 2 strikes on Brenly. I struck him out on 3 pitches. That's number 1 for Scott today, 286. No score in the second inning. That's strikeout number 2.
Well, I did that so much in my brief career, I can tell you how that feels. First of all, every rib on your right side almost caves in, and you almost break your right wrist. Now watch, he's trying to swing. Now he decides to lay off. And he'll be sore tomorrow morning.
Well, that was Phil Willett, and he has just struck out. And here's Jose Uribe. And that's trouble, and Dorn back. Took my eye off of Dorn. He had it all the way. Watching Bass, he had no chance on it. Dorn made an easy play on it, drifting back. That retires the side. After 2 innings, 0-0, Scott has hit a batter and walked 1. And the pitcher, Juan Berenguer, will be leading it off. Berenguer, and then Dan Gladden and Robbie Thompson. Danny Walling. 1 out. Warren Garrett's had 1 hit. He's had 2 hits in his major league career. Of course, he spent some time in the American League. And he's out on the first pitch, and we'll go to the top side of the order now to Dan Gladden again. Walling will get another shot. And the big bounce, 2 outs. 1 strike. 2 strikes on Thompson. Here's that 2-2 pitch. Hey, he got him. That's the 3rd for Scott. Swing and a miss by Brenly Ouellette in the 2nd inning, and Thompson does it here to wrap up the top half of the 3rd inning. And as we go to 4, here's Bill Worrell.
Thank you, Gene. Mike Scott heading into his 4th inning of work, and leading off Will Clark, the young first baseman for the Giants. Doran. Nice play to his left. Oh, good pitch. And that's the 4th strikeout of the game for Mike Scott. Chili Davis will be the hitter for the Giants. 2 outs, top of the 4th inning, no score in the game. Davis came in hitting at .276 with 11 homers and 65 runs batted in. Should be easy play for Reynolds. And an easy inning for Mike Scott. 3 up and 3 down as we're in the middle of the 4th inning at the Astrodome. And there's still no score in this game as the Astros go for the clincher on HSE. Mike Scott has thrown 4 innings now. He has 4 strikeouts, given up a couple of bases on balls, and he's hit a batter. Otherwise, he's been perfect. Good pitch. The split finger, call 3rd strike. And that's 5 strikeouts for Mike Scott. Last night we saw the youngster Melvin catching, and he's hit well against Houston this year, so I'm sure that's why Roger Craig had him in the lineup. Well, Davis strays way off first base. That means Scott has to cover, and he does, so everything worked out fine. Right field. Boy, Bass had him played perfectly, and it's a 3 up, 3 down inning for Mike Scott. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Denny Walling, the hitter now for the Astros. He got some of that one back deep. Take a look. It's gone. Home run. Denny Walling. And the Astros lead it 1-0 on pennant clincher day. We'll have a pinch hitter now. Rick Lancelotti will pinch hit for the Giants. Got him on a good high fastball. So Lancelotti, another strikeout victim for Mike Scott. That's 6 in the game. Scott had given him that split finger, you'll remember, the first couple of strikes. Lancelotti may have been looking for it again, and this time he got pure heat right up around the letters, and he couldn't come up with it. 6 strikeouts now for Mike Scott. And the hitter is Dan Gladden. Ashby sets up on the outside corner, and Scott burned him inside. Well, he didn't get the location exactly right, but the horsepower was about 95 miles per hour. Strikeout number 7 for Mike Scott. And the hitter is Rob Thompson. Oh, there's the split finger. Oh, outside corner, perfect location. You saw Ashby set up the glove. Scott hit him right there. So he's way ahead of Robbie Thompson now. No balls and 2 strikes. Listen to the crowd. They're in on it now. They know what's going on. He got him. Strike 3 for the 24th time this season. Mike Scott has struck out the side. What a game Mike Scott is throwing on clincher day. And listen to the crowd. They love it in the dome. We have played through 6 1/2, and the Astros lead it 1-0.
Okay, Bill, and Will Clark, the first baseman, will lead it off. It'll be Candy Maldonado and then Chili Davis. And Scott gets a strike on him to get it underway.
See what he does with Clark here.
Struck him out. That's 4 in a row for Scott. He got the side on, incidentally, he struck out the side on the 6th on 11 pitches. And striking out 3 batters in an inning on 9 has been done a few times, but it is a rarity. But he has 4 in a row now on that one. That's 9 strikeouts for Scott.
Well, they're going to ask for it.
All right.
And Bob Engel throws it right back out.
That's 16 batters in a row retired by Scott. This is the 3rd time this year that he has struck out 16 consecutive hitters.
Now look at Roger Craig. He just called his pitching coach over and he says, study him. Where is he getting it?
That's Norm Sherry.
Yep, Norm saying, I don't know. You taught him a pitch. Don't look at me.
Maldonado has popped out and struck out. And 2 strikes. That's 10.
Maldonado can't believe it. Look at the crowd. They're loving every minute of it.
Now Scott has 17 straight now. This is the 11th time this year that Scott. Where am I going to put that K?
Whoops. Well,
that's the 11th time this year that Scott has struck out 10 or more batters. 11th time. That'll do it. No hitter going here for Mike Scott through 7. And this is the deepest that any Houston pitcher's gone this year without giving up a base hit. Still 1-0 Astros. Walling second, Davis first. Cruz 2 walks today. And a base hit into right field. Overrun by Chili Davis, but there will be no error on the play. And the Astros lead it 2-0. Well, this is the 8th inning, and there's the story. Bob Brenly will lead it off against Mike Scott. Phil Willett will follow. And a strike. Scott has struck out 5 of the last 6 men to face him. He has 10. Brenly has struck out twice, swinging and looking today.
You don't have to tell the fans what's going on. They're sitting on the edge of their seats and they're applauding every strike by Mike Scott.
Scott has not given up a hit. He has hit Gladden with a pitch to open the ball game and then walked Davis to open the second. He has retired 19 in a row. 19 straight batters. This is the first time this year that anyone on this club has done it. Bob Nepper has the season's high of 17 in a row against San Diego back in August, and now Scott has just reached 19, and that is his 11th strikeout.
And he's doing it against the man who taught him the split finger.
Here's the catcher, Phil Willett. Struck out and grounded out. Foul ball, strike 1. 2-1. 1 out, nobody on base. Ball 3, strike 1. Ball 3 and strike 1 on this rookie catcher with 1 out. Brenly opened the inning with a strikeout. Uribe will be next. 3-2.
Well, that's saying, where did the bottom of that ball go to? I think Mike took a little off of it.
Yeah, that shot that we talked about earlier when he struck out back in the second inning, he got that freeze frame, and you're looking right out at Scott to basically ask the same question. Well, he's 3-2 on it. He lost him. Now it's the third base runner for San Francisco. 2 walks and a hit batter. Willett takes a 1-out walk here in the 8th, and that stops Mike String at 19 in a row. Jose Uribe is not going to bat, and it will be
Aldrete and Spillman, and I think it's going to be Spillman.
Well, it'll be both of them evidently.
Yep.
because the pitcher's due up next. Davis is due to follow Uribe.
Harry Spillman, a dangerous hitter in this situation. He has pinch hit 29 times this year with 12 hits and 8 runs batted in. Good hitter.
That's a .414 pinch hit average. Ouelletta's the runner at first base. And a strike. Spillman released by the Astros last year, signed on with the Detroit Tigers minor league system, went to Detroit, was released by the Tigers, and then signed by San Francisco, all in 1 year. Doran will get one there, and that's all. Nice play by Billy. Had to react very quickly on that. A very sharply hit ball by Spillman. Now we'll have a runner at first base.
So this is the guy who specializes in this, huh?
Luis Quinones will run at first, and we'll see what Aldrete does here. Big lead by Quinones off first base. Fly ball to left center field. Billy Hatcher. And Scott still has the no-hitter going. He has it going through 8 innings.
Oh, boy, what drama, Gene.
Well, we'll start the inning off with a stat board right there. You see it all at the top. Astros lead it 2-0. Dan Gladden will be the first batter. Hit by a pitch. Grounded out and struck out. Mike Scott has not given up a hit. 3 runners have reached off of him in the ball game. Strike 2. Number 12 for Scott. Astros are 2 outs away from clinching the division for the second time in their history. Mike Scott is 2 outs away from a no-hitter. Robbie Thompson, 1 ball, no strikes. Sure you all remember the last no-hitter pitched here. That was by Nolan Ryan.
This may be it.
The 5th of his career. Back on September the 26th of '81. 5 years ago tomorrow. 1 ball, 1 strike. One out, nobody on. 1-2 on Robbie Thompson. Will Clark will be next. Matt Thompson asked the plate umpire Bob Engel for time. That sort of summed up the afternoon's work for Scott on that look by Robbie Thompson. 13. 2 outs, nobody on. Top of the 9th. Houston 2-0. Scott has not given up a hit. Will Clark. There it is.
promise of the Mets' 1986 season was put to an early test in St. Louis against New York's arch rivals, the Cardinals.
We needed to beat the Cardinals. That's the bottom line. We didn't beat them the year before.
Swinging a fly ball to short right field. Mets, a winner! A winner! And the Cardinals beat the Mets.
We needed to prove to them that, this year, we were going to be the team to beat. We came in and we swept the Cardinals that series.
The game is over. The Mets have won the ball game.
We knew we had to make a statement early. I think Wally Backman made comments about it, but quietly.
We're on downstairs by the clubhouse. We get on the elevator, and Wally Backman gets on the elevator with us. And the doors start to close. And there's an entrance to the left from the manager's office that the Cardinals players would use. And as the doors start to close, Wally pushes the door back. And Wally looks out and says,
"It's over.
Don't let us get too far ahead."
But from there, the Mets did take off. They'd win 108 games in all, leaving the Cards and the rest of the NL East far behind.
They struggled mightily at the first couple months, and we were strong and kind of put it away early in the season.
Swung a hot grand slam home run. That's the ball game. And the Mets have won 7 in a row.
The New York Mets were just an all-time great team. Basically lapped the field by the time they even got to May and June.
That team was remarkable.
Look at Hernandez. Woo!
We had some real characters and we had some personalities. I think that's what made us go on to be successful that year.
Hello, this is Roger McDowell. This is my assistant, Howard Johnson.
Hi. We had a guy named Roger McDowell who was a relief pitcher, but who could have been a stand-up comic.
On this episode, we'll introduce you to the wonderful world of puckball.
Roger McDowell was the team prankster. Him and Howard Johnson would give people hot foot.
Or the perpetrators.
Yes.
The perpetratree.
Poor Bill Robinson at first base during the, I think they must have given him like about 9 different hot foots.
That's amazing. How does he do it?
It was a loose, crazy bunch of guys. Nobody took themselves seriously, but had fun. And I think that was what made the team a special team.
The loose, fun-loving Mets were great, and they knew it, with a big city arrogance that endeared them to New York, but also made them despised by the rest of baseball.
Something about the team, because it captured the personality of New York. I think everybody in New York could identify with somebody on the '86 team.
New York in '86 was gritty, and it was dirty, and it was sort of disgusting, and there was litter everywhere. We did not have high expectations of our baseball team. We liked the Mets. We could relate with the Mets. The Mets were gritty. They didn't even have cool uniforms. Their uniforms were sort of frumpy looking, and they did the stupid video, "Let's go Mets go, do it, let's go Mets." And that was just kind of who we were.
There were no choir boys on our team then. There weren't many choir boys there. Nothing against choir boys, but
there weren't many goody two-shoes on the '86 Mets. This was not a team of guys going home, reading their Bibles, and watching Happy Days.
Just go back and look at the headlines of the New York Mets at '86. They were crazy as ever.
By the way, parents, it's not too late to sign the kids up for the New York Mets baseball and boxing camp coming right up. And
Mets got in 4 fights that year, 4 on-field brawls.
Bingo. Well, Ray Knight is a tough guy. It's basically been a free-for-all. Yes, sir. It was no contest.
That's what made us who we were.
That's the kind of team they were, just nasty and down in the dirt. These guys were fighters.
One more time.
They'd all go out together, they'd drink together, they'd party together.
Fighting here and getting arrested, the group of guys got arrested in Houston.
Across the board debauchery, and it worked for them. That's what made them great.
He struck out the side.
That's what got us to the top, is our swagger and arrogance about ourselves. There was no question that everybody hated us, but we loved it. We enjoyed it. I think we got off on it as a team, as a group.
They're spreading the news that they are right now the dominant team in this game, in either league.
It was so important to us to know when we stepped between the lines, it was over.
The Mets fans have been tremendous. They have turned out in record numbers. They have been delighted by the play of their ball club, and they are ready to celebrate. Fastball foul back with Martinez running, and the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the crowd will get even louder, anticipating the final strike of the game. These Mets fans have waited for this really for the better part of 3 seasons. Ever since the '84 campaign when the Mets became a contender. And they are ready to bust loose in more ways than one.
13 years of waiting.
Ground ball to second. Backman to Hernandez. The unbelievable season is not over. But the championship is here in New York. The inevitable has finally become a reality. And the adoring fans have swept on the field. On September 17th, the New York Mets become champions of the National League's Eastern Division for 1986.
ABC Sports is proud to present the National League Championship Series of 1986. The New York Mets, champions of the East, and the Houston Astros, champions of the West. In the opening game, the pitchers, Dwight Golden for the Mets, they call him Dr. K for good reason. Mike Scott for the Astros. Lately, he's been called great, also for good reason. When it opened in April 1965, it was called the 8th wonder of the world, the Astrodome. It was so impressive, even the name of the primary tenant was changed from Colt 45s to the Houston Astros. That's part of the compromise, I guess, of moving the game of baseball indoors. Hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson, and welcome to the 1976 National League Championship Series. As you know, I am sure this, for the second year, is a best of 7, and many people feel this matchup between the Astros and the Mets could well go the limit. These two teams came into being in 1962. The Mets have been to 2 World Series. They won in 69. They lost in 73. The Astros have never been to the World Series. They were the Western Division champions in 1980, but they lost in 5 games to the Philadelphia Phillies, one of the great playoff series of all time. And one picture still sticks in my mind in the aftermath of that exciting series. It was this. Outfielder, the brilliant outfielder of the Houston Astros, Jose Cruz, sitting all by himself, tears running down his face after the great effort. So close, but just 1 run short. And I should tell you, it is still a burr under the saddle of 6 of these Houston Astros who took part. We'll talk specifics about this series with Tim McCarver in just a moment.
Well, Jim Deshaies won 12 games, but primarily as a starter this year. Jeff Calhoun could be a situation pitcher where he comes in the middle innings. The one problem, I think both managers are going to go with their starters so long that I think all long relievers are going to be out unless the games become extra inning ball games.
Could be, and you know, there's always, Walter Mitty jumps up every year, doesn't he?
Certainly
you never know
does.
who he's going to be, so it could be Calhoun, it could be almost anybody on either side. But let's go now to the offensive side of it, presuming we do have some base runners in this series. And I thought it was interesting to talk to Hal Lanier as to whether or not he might change his tactics, maybe a different kind of a game plan in a 7-game series. So I put the question to him, and this is how he answered it yesterday.
No, Keith, I think, we have to stay within ourselves. That's the most important thing in the playoffs, and especially during the season, too. But, we've played very aggressive ball throughout the whole season. and we're going to continue to play that. You know, we have to get our first 2 people on. We have to steal bases. We have to put pressure on the defense. And you know, this is one of the reasons why we won the Western Division and why we won 96 ball games. So you know, they're going to have the green light unless, you know, we get way behind and late in the ball game and where we need a 3-run home run from a Glenn Davis or whoever. We'll put the hole on them. But other than that, we're going to play the same brand of baseball that we played throughout the whole season.
You got to expect them to be hauling it. If they do get those first 2 guys on, they got to be running on Gary.
There's no doubt about it. But Gary's really better than Alan Ashby. I like Gary's chances better than I do Ashby's. And both staffs are going to make it tough on the catchers because both staffs are slow to home plate. But we're going to probably do a little pitching out or something early, give them something to think about.
Leading off, igniter of the Mets offense. He stole 31 bases. Number 4, center fielder Len Dykstra. Batting second, he hit a career-high .320 during the regular season. Number 6, second baseman Wally Backman. Batting third, he finished among the league leaders in batting average, hits, runs, and game-winning RBIs. Number 17, first baseman Keith Hernandez. Batting fourth, the only Mets player to knock in 100 or more runs in 2 seasons. Number 8, catcher Gary Carter. Batting fifth, he became the first National Leaguer to be voted a starter on the All-Star team in each of his first 3 Major League seasons. Number 18, right fielder Darryl Strawberry. Batting sixth, he's been with the Mets longer than any other current Mets player. Number 1, left fielder Mookie Wilson. Batting seventh, the 8th leading hitter in the National League. Number 22, third baseman Ray Knight. Batting 8th, he hit .280 in the last 33 games of the season. Number 3, shortstop Rafael Santana. Batting 9th and warming up in the bullpen, the 1985 Cy Young Award winner, number 16, Dwight Golden. And now for your Western Division champion, Houston Astros. The manager, number 22, Hal Lanier. Leading off, he was second on the club in the National League in stolen bases, number 28, center fielder Billy Hatcher. Batting second, he led the Astros in walks, runs, and stolen bases, number 19, second baseman Bill Doran. Batting third, he set career highs in every offensive category of the season, number 29, third baseman Denny Walling. Batting fourth, the second Astro ever to hit 30 home runs in a season, number 27, first baseman Glenn Davis. Batting fifth, he had the 4th highest batting average in the National League, number 17, right fielder Kevin Bass. Batting sixth, 4-time Astros most valuable player, number 25, left fielder Jose Cruz. Batting seventh, he has caught 3 no-hitters in his Major League career, number 14, catcher Alan Ashby. Batting eighth, a native Houstonian who is making his 2nd league championship appearance, number 12, shortstop Craig Reynolds. Batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen, he became only the 2nd right-hander and 4th National League hurler to strike out 300 batters in a season, number 33, Mike Scott. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you will please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the Texas Army National Guard.
I can just imagine the public address announcer at Shea Stadium already beginning to hone for his introduction when they come back there. Michael White now will sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's night's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well, it's been a pretty good year in the city of Houston. They had the Rockets playing for the NBA championship, and now they've got the Astros going for the National League pennant. All right, we're ready to go as the Houston Astros take the field, and Mike Scott goes toward the pitching mound, and there's been a lot made about Mike Scott scuffing the ball. I put the question to the New York Mets manager, Davey Johnson, yesterday, and this was his reply.
Well, not really. I'm going to leave that up to each individual player. If they don't like the way the ball acted, they can certainly have the right to ask the umpire to look at it. Unfortunately, while we're in Houston, the ball, if it's thrown out, is thrown out on the wrong side, so I can't look at it. But I'm sure that the umpires will take things in their hands if a lot of the balls are being scuffed.
Gary Carter has been the fellow that has been making most of the noise, I guess, about Mike Scott scuffing the ball. And Doug Harvey is behind the plate tonight, and I talked to him, and if we have an opportunity, we'll drop that little bit of information and his perspective of it in. All right, the Astros are in the field. Outside, it is Cruz, Hatcher, and Bass in the outer perimeter. Inside on the infield, it is Davis at first, Doran at second, Reynolds at short, Walling at third. Denny Walling playing third tonight. Phil Garner probably be over there tomorrow night. Alan Ashby back at the plate. Mike Scott with a record of 18-10, an earned run average of 2.22, is on the mound. And though he gets most of his publicity off his split-fingered fastball, he has some other tools as well.
Well, he's got an outstanding fastball, but his split-finger fastball is the pitch that's really turned him around. As a matter of fact, Tony Gwynn, fine hitter of the San Diego Padres, put it best. He said if everybody in the league threw the split-finger fastball like Mike Scott, then the hitters would be out of a job, and all you'd need would be pitchers and catchers. That's how effective he has been this year.
And he freely loves to advertise the fact that he doesn't know where it's going either.
That's right.
All right, the Mets are ready to go as Lenny Dykstra comes to the plate. He has walked 58 times. He has struck out 56 times. .295 batting average, followed by Wally Backman and then Keith Hernandez. Very important, these first two men in the batting order for both teams. Baseman Walling comes in. Dykstra loves to punt it. Rolls it sharply down to first. Glenn Davis picks it up and tags him out. We've got one away on one pitch.
Glenn Davis actually in front of first base. And that's where infielders align themselves. The first baseman playing in even with the line, and the third baseman way in. And that was no contest. Dykstra tried to get that ball in the direction of the second baseman and hit the seam between the pitcher and the first baseman, but was unsuccessful.
They play on the artificial surface here, the rug, but this is not a hot rug. It is not like Cincinnati. It is not like Philadelphia. The ball just simply does not ricochet and gain momentum on this turf, artificial turf, like it does in some other ballparks. Now it is Wally Backman.
Hits the ball to the shortstop Reynolds. Craig handles it. His throw across. Pulls him off the bag. Error on the throw by Reynolds. Backman has speed, and he went hustling down the line, and the Mets have the first base runner of the series with Keith Hernandez coming to the plate.
Well, once Craig Reynolds takes the step back to field the ball, he's back on his heels. Now when he plants, he takes a little bit too much time, and he makes a high throw, and Backman beats the throw. Once you take that step back, then you're beaten, especially with a guy who can run like Backman.
Al Lanier passing some information onto the field. The coaches for New York: Bud Harrelson at third, Bill Robinson at first, and poison for a lot of ball clubs is at the plate. Keith Hernandez. See the numbers for Keith. He's also a rather patient fellow. He's walked 94 times this year, struck out only 69 times. Fastball is tucked in for a strike on Hernandez. As Backman, you see him getting off first base, at least going as far to hook 1 foot on the rug.
That's what Hal Lanier was worried about. When a team's out on defense, the reason a manager would give signs, he's giving it to his catcher. You see Alan Ashby always looking at the dugout because Hal Lanier realizes the Mets run just like his ball club does.
Scott's move to first is not bad.
There's Hal giving those signs right there. He's giving those signs to Alan Ashby. And this would be an ideal spot in which to pitch out.
That was close.
That's how good Scott's move can be. Look how close this was. Backman just in there. Nice quick tag by Glenn Davis,
whose work around the bag at first base has improved steadily, too.
Yes, sir.
Backman goes, and Hernandez fouls it back out of play. Swing and a miss, and he struck him out. That did not look like the split finger.
No, that was a high fastball. And you don't often see Hernandez go for a pitch out of the strike zone, but you will notice that Dwight Gooden and Mike Scott with their fastballs are very, very effective up in the strike zone. Gooden's the same way.
Now Gary Carter. He's been the big noise with 105 runs batted in and 24 home runs for the Mets this season. Strong had good rest while he was on injured. The injured list. There's your split-fingered fastball. Just dove off the table, and Gary swung and missed it. Throws it just like his fastball. Same motion. But he's got to come over the top of it to get it into the strike zone. Now Gary Carter wants him to look at the ball. I mean, that thing just exploded.
Well, it really did. No sooner than Carter swung the bat, he turns around and asks Doug Harvey to check the ball. From a psychological standpoint, you don't know whether having him check the ball that quickly works to the advantage of the Mets or to the disadvantage of the Mets. They may be worrying about the wrong thing.
2-strike pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So Mike Scott strikes out 2 of the 4 Mets he faces. New York leaves Buckman on first, and after a half inning of play, there is no score, and the controversy has already started over whether or not Scott's doing something to the ball. And as Tim McCarver says, it could be they're fussing about the wrong thing. We'll go now to the bottom of the first inning. For the Houston Astros, the New York Mets defensively will line up this way. In left field, Mookie Wilson, Lynn Dykstra center, Darryl Strawberry right. Inside, it's Keith Hernandez at first, Wally Backman second, Rafael Santana short, Ray Knight third, Gary Carter back at the plate, and Dwight Gooden on the mound with a record of 17-6, 2.84 earned run average, and he is the first major league pitcher in his first 3 seasons to strike out 200 or more in each season.
His lifetime record is 58-19, and it's amazing that he is going against Mike Scott tonight because Dwight Gooden, his nickname is Doctor, and of course we've already seen that Scott has been accused of doctoring the ball already.
The umpires, Doug Harvey back at the plate, Lee Wire at first, Frank Pulley second, Dutch Wynn at third. Left field line is Joe West, right side is Fred Brocklander. Doug Harvey, of course, was the man involved in that now famous did he catch it or didn't he involving Vern Rule in the series of 1980 between the Phillies and the Astros.
Back to him, he short hops and he forgets where the buttons are. Oh, I don't know whether he caught it or not if he short hopped it, and now we're going to have an argument. Just a moment. Did he short hop it or did he catch it? If they go back to second base, they got a triple play, depending on if he caught the ball. Now this is something. Doug Harvey and Ed Vargo, two of the senior umpires in the National League, having the discussion. Harvey was blocked out. He's out. It's a triple play. And the inning is over. Here comes Dallas Green. We have seen everything in this series. I do not believe it.
Did he catch it or didn't he involving Vern Rule in the series of 1980 between the Phillies and the Astros? Very complicated moment in the life of an umpire. Billy Hatcher, line drive hitter, very aggressive on the bases. And Dwight Gooden's first pitch is ball one. Hatcher has walked 22 times, struck out 52 times, so he's hacking when he comes up. High pop left side. Ray Knight coming over, and Ray can't get it. Ray Knight, of course, was a member of the Houston Astros organization before he went on to New York, and at times it seemed he was going to blossom in Houston, but he never did. Dennis Menke coaching at third, Matt Galante at first for Houston. Hatcher hits the ball to left field. In play. Curveball. Hatcher jumped on it, lifted it out to Mookie Wilson for out number one.
That was not a good curveball. It was a curveball that was up, but it shows you how Gooden can get away with high curveballs because it's so unexpected when a hitter gets it. They've got to be geared for the fastball.
Now it's Bill Doran. 81 times he walked this year. Struck out only 57 times. Much foul left side, out of play. He batted leadoff until mid-August, pulled a groin muscle. Came back to the lineup. He had a little trouble running, getting speed, particularly getting going. So Hal Lanier moved Billy Hatcher into the leadoff spot, dropping Doran into the number 2 spot. Give you some idea of the matchup you're looking at right now. Lifted softly left field. Wilson coming in a hurry. He makes the catch. 2 down. Now Denny Wally, guy that's got a half a dozen gloves in his locker. He can play almost any place for you. He went on a tear, finished the season strong, batting .312 with 13 home runs and 58 runs batted in.
And he's the most dangerous hitter in the Astro lineup against Gooden. With all due respect to Glenn Davis, who had 31 home runs, and he's on deck. Walling, a very, very smart hitter, and rarely swings at the first pitch.
And Dwight starts him with a slow curveball for a strike.
That's the key to Walling. You've got to stay ahead of him, because if you don't, he sits on that fastball, and he doesn't foul it back. He hits it a long way. He has 1 home run this year against Gooden.
Fly ball, left field. Mookie Wilson off a broken back fly ball makes the catch. So Mookie gets all 3 putouts in the bottom of the first inning. We played 1 at the Astrodome, and there is no score between the Mets and the Astros.
Well, I think that's why it's been so easy on my arm this year. I don't really, there's no tricks to it. It's exactly what the pitch says. I split my fingers and throw a fastball.
Are you among the legion of pitchers, even though you've had a remarkable season, that that ball may be a little hotter this year than it has in times past?
Well, I don't know. I just, maybe I'm lucky that my fingers are the right size, or I think you have to throw hard, and I throw hard, so that makes the ball move a little bit more. But it just was a real easy pitch for me to pick up after I talked to Roger Craig. We spent about 10 days and threw about 7, and after that, I just basically got my arm in shape, threw it in spring training, and then the pitch came around.
And right now he's pitching to Darryl Strawberry, to be followed by Mookie Wilson and Ray Knight. Strawberry in at 2.59 on the year, but with 93 runs batted in and 27 home runs. It's 1 ball and 1 strike on Darryl. Another interesting thing about Strawberry, with that long stroke that he has, he did strike out 141 times this year.
Yeah, with that long stroke, if he connects with a lot of power. Watch how he curls that bat from this angle.
Just outside. Two balls and a strike. There was a conversation between Bill Robinson, the first base coach, and Doug Harvey, the plate umpire, as Robbie was on his way to first base. And undoubtedly they were talking about it. That time, Scott comes with a breaking pitch and nails the inside corner, and it's 2-2.
Earlier in the year, as a matter of fact, Bill Robinson and Rick Rhoden of the Pittsburgh Pirates had a fight. Both benches emptied because they thought Rhoden was scuffing the ball.
Struck him out. He looks tough.
Oh, this is not a split finger here. This is a tailing fastball. Now watch how it starts out inside and then comes back to catch the inside corner. See that little tail on the end? And Gooden, a lot of left-handers give up on that pitch because of the late action on the fastball.
Now it's Mookie Wilson. Foul back. He jumped on the fastball on the first pitch. Mookie at 289. Good, solid baseball player, this fellow. Inside. He was moved from center to left field, as many of you in the New York area, or those who follow the Mets, know well. He didn't say anybody, went over, did the best he could, because they needed to make some room for Dykstra. That shot foul. And it almost picked off somebody in the photographer's pin down there. But Mookie's been all over the lineup this year. He's been 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. And he just came, checked the lineup, and went to work. High fastball struck him out. Scott now has struck out 4 in a row. That will tie a league championship record of Milt Wilcox in striking out 4 successive batters.
Well, if he keeps throwing like that, he's going to break a lot of records tonight. 2 games ago, he threw a no-hitter, and then the next game, he threw 6 innings against the same ball club, the San Francisco Giants. 15 2/3 consecutive innings of no-hit ball. He is throwing some gas tonight, I'm telling you.
Ray Knight at the plate. Lifted to center. Hatcher coming. Makes the catch. So Mike Scott retires the New York Mets in order in the top of the 2nd inning. And after an inning and a half in the Astrodome, there is no score, and you can see here that was a dying quail hit out into center, and Hatcher had a long way to come to get it. But he did it. Home runs and 101 runs batted in for Houston this year. Kevin Bass will follow, and then Jose Cruz. High fly ball, deep center field. Dykstra going back to the wall. It's gone.
can throw a high fastball. You talk about power to power. It's an old cliche, but applies here. This ball has hit a ton to center field.
It went out of here at about 399 feet. And it's 1-0 Houston with Kevin Bass coming to the plate.
Tell you what a great story Glenn Davis is. Suicidal tendencies as a teenager, taken in by the parents of Storm Davis, the pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles. Makes him obviously Storm's stepbrother.
Also playing with a plate and screws in his right arm from a high school football injury, but he's settled in and is on his way to stardom.
Is he ever?
Kevin Bass, another bright star for these Houston Astros, stands in and takes a pitch whistled in from Dwight Golden for a strike. Switch hitter. His best power side is the right side. But he's quite strong, has good bat speed, and he's got good foot speed. There's no substitute for foot speed. I don't care what your sport is. That's fouled away.
Pardon me, Keith, only asset in baseball that you can use offensively and defensively.
Shot down the right side, going to the corner. Could be extra bases. Bass turns first. Well played by Strawberry in the corner, and it's a double for Bass. A double by the first two men to face Dwight Golden here in the home half of the second inning.
Well, a 3-2 count. You notice how Hernandez plays off the line. He plays all hitters off the line because he figures that balls down the line are doubles or extra base hits. It's up to the pitcher and catcher to keep the ball away from the line.
And now Cruz will go with a pitch wherever it is. Swings through the fastball and misses, and that was in about the same location where Davis lost it.
Yeah, this is one of those overrated situations in baseball where you say you've got a left-handed pull hitter with nobody out and a runner on second base, and you ought to give yourself up to get him over. I'd rather have a guy swinging the bat as well as Cruz try to get him in, not get him over.
He unwound on that one, and he goes that way again. It's a looping fly ball to center field. Dykstra comes in a hurry, and Bass has to go back to second base. Again, the speed of Dykstra coming to play on that soft little fly ball looped out into center.
Jose Cruz is in the position where he's one of the RBI men. And with a guy like Cruz, you don't want him getting a guy over for the bottom part of the order. If it's Wally Backman getting a runner over for Keith Hernandez, or one of the 1-2 and table setter type hitters for the middle three, well, that's a different story, but not in that situation.
Alan Ashby, the catcher, .245 average. He's a switch hitter. And Dwight Gooden starts him with a curveball. And again, this is a hitter where you want to change speeds on him, keep him off balance. He will sit on the fastball. Another curve, and good for a strike. So it's 2 strikes on Ashby. High by Gooden. Kevin Bass is on second base. You've got 1 out. You got to run across. Way up with that one.
Well, he got 2 strikes with the curveballs. I would imagine he'll go back to a curveball on this count, because you do have first base open, and if you throw 2 curveballs and miss, then you have your 8th place hitter up. He shook off 1 pitch. We'll see.
Turned it over, and it's inside.
And he might throw another curveball here.
Yep. All 4. Now comes Craig Reynolds, one of those 6. that endured and persevered and came up just short in 1980. This guy can be dangerous, though.
He beat Roger McDowell, one of only 4 players to hit a home runs off the sinking ball or relief specialist with the Mets. Beat him in a home run, and that was the game that Gooden and Scott had worked. Scott carried a 4-0 lead into the 9th inning, the only time those two have faced each other this year, and Reynolds won it in the bottom of the 9th with a homer off McDowell.
And he'll have a rip. He'll have a rip if it's a fastball. Shot down the right side, just foul. He jumped all over it, didn't he?
Yeah, if you're saying these guys are fastball hitters, you're right. You're exactly right. But what are you going to do with Dwight Gooden? Throwing lollipop change-ups or something? I mean, this is, you know, fastball against a fastball hitting club. And you got to throw it sometimes. And with Dwight Gooden, you can throw it anytime. The thing is, when you throw it, you want to be ahead in the count, because when you're ahead in the count, that eliminates a lot from a hitter's standpoint. He becomes a defensive hitter instead of an offensive hitter, and there's a big, big difference.
Ball is hit softly into right field. Strawberry comes, drops in front of him. Bass may not be able to come home. He has to hold because he didn't know whether or not Strawberry would be able to run it down. So the little looper drops in front of Strawberry. The bases are loaded. You've got 1 out, and the pitcher, Mike Scott, coming to the plate. Now, Mike Scott had 12 hits and 95 at-bats on the season. He struck out 48 times. And the last time I said that a pitcher didn't represent any particular threat at the plate, Steve Carlton hit a 3-run home run in St. Louis that season. I don't know, with the speed of Bass at third, does Scott put it on the ground?
Well, not only put it on the ground, you might think about a sacrifice here. Usually situations like this are relegated for later innings, but with Scott throwing as well as he's been throwing, I wouldn't at all rule out the possibility of a sacrifice. And there's Hal in there, and we'll see.
Well, it'll be an all-out squeeze because the folks are all over the bases, and Bass now starts creeping down the line at third. Dennis Menke, the third base coach for Houston. Dwight Gooden up to his armpits in trouble right here with 1 out. 1 run in. Strike 1. Check swing. Strike. They appeal it. First base umpire Lee Wire said yes, he went through the zone. It's 2 strikes on Mike Scott.
Now you can't, for the most part, forget about the squeeze unless he gets a couple of 3 balls on him. Mike goes too far on this curveball. A good play by Carter on the short hop.
Swings and misses and strikes out. That is the first strikeout for Dwight Gooden in the ball game. You've got 2 out now. The bases are still loaded, and here's the top of the order, Billy Hatcher. Hatcher hit a fly ball to left field. Mookie Wilson caught it for the first out of the ball game. His first time up. That pitch is low and away, and Gary Carter boxes it around and contains it.
That was a good play by Gary. Catchers are more apt to catch the breaking ball in the dirt. It's the fastball in the dirt that gets them in trouble. Breaking ball in the dirt is going down, and as a catcher, you anticipate the ball in the dirt.
Third baseman Ray Knight steps on the bag, getting the force at third and the 3rd out of the inning. So Gooden struggles some. The Houston Astros break through and score on Glenn Davis's home run and lead after 2, 1-0.
Well, Davis likes the ball out over the plate. He likes to extend those arms. And if there is such a thing as a book on him, it's jam him tight with the fastball. Hit high and deep to center field. Dykstra going way back. Way back. Pokes out of here.
the New York Mets. As we go to the top of the third inning, it'll be Rafael Santana, Dwight Gooden, and then the top of the order, Lynn Dykstra. Santana, the shortstop, takes a strike from Mike Scott with a batting average of .218. The irony of Roger Craig teaching Mike Scott the split-fingered fastball, of course, is it's against San Francisco that he nails his no-hitter.
Yeah. And clincher.
Oh, great play by Billy Doran.
Now, this is just a marvelous play by a marvelous player. This ball is scorched toward the gap. And watch Doran. Oh, that's a full extension. It's like Greg Louganis going after that ball. Boy, that is a fine play by Doran.
Now the Mets pitcher, Dwight Gooden, who has 7 hits and 81 at-bats this year. But he only struck out 16 times, so it must mean that he does make some contact with the ball.
He will talk to anybody in the world about his hitting. Anybody who'll listen. He loves to talk about hitting.
Strike 2. It's fun to see a young man like Dwight Gooden who goes home. When the season is done, he puts on his overalls, relaxes, and then he goes back into his training regimen and gets ready to go back to work. And he swings and misses, striking out. So that is 5 strikeouts now for Mike Scott.
Well, Dwight's not going to put his overalls on after this, but he's going to go home with that fastball. I'll tell you. Great Scott, he has been that this year. Certainly the front runner for the Cy Young Award. You have Fernando Valenzuela also with 21 wins.
Lynn Dykstra bounced out to the first baseman on the first pitch of the ball game. One of the things about this fellow Scotto, as we noted early before we came on the air, we were perusing through the stats. Bouncing ball out to the second baseman Doran. He throws out Dykstra to tire the side. But 8 of the 10 losses by Mike Scott this year were by 1 run. 1-0 Houston. Oh, any moment. And its decibel count will rise as Bill Doran, Denny Walling, and Glenn Davis come to the plate. Doran, born and raised and lives in Cincinnati. Coming up through the minors in the 80s, they knew this young man was going to be a player for them. They went ahead and traded Johnny Ray, if you remember, to the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1981. Got Phil Garner. A lot of people were carping about it, but Phil Garner turned out to be a very valuable member of this Houston infield as well, and Doran is going to be a big star. He had a fly ball to left field his first time up. He is 0 for 1. Houston's run came on a 400-foot home run by Glenn Davis, and he is the number 3 hitter scheduled in this inning. And Dwight Gooden now goes to 2 balls and no strikes to Doran. 3-2 pitch. Sharply down the right side. Great play. Hernandez. Gooden covers it, and Hernandez throws him out. Is there anybody better over there?
No. I've never seen anybody better. Watch this play by Hernandez. He's playing him the same place he was playing Kevin Bass. Great extension. Now he throws from his knees. State-of-the-art first baseman.
Yes, sir. Now Denny Walling. 0 for 1. That ball is hit sharply. Hernandez gloves it and throws to Gooden. So that 3-1 combination is good for 2 outs. Here in the bottom of the third inning. Now it is Davis. Crowd comes up for it. Glenn Davis with a home run at 400 feet in the second inning. I guess the most consistent long ball threat the Astros have had since the toy cannon played here. Jimmy Wynn.
several guys in the league that can small up their own ballpark, and this guy's one of them. 17 home runs in this park this year.
That's a shot down the left side. Great play, Ray Knight. Throw, got him. 2 fielding gems in the inning on the corners by the Mets. One by Hernandez and one by Knight, and the Astros hit the ball sharply off Gooden, but they are turned away in order. And after 3, it's 1-0 Houston. We go now to the top of the 4th inning. And Mike Scott, who has just been utterly dominant so far in the ball game, pitching to Wally Backman, Keith Hernandez, and Gary Carter. They're throwing pitches, Mr. Vice President, that they didn't have when we were out there hacking away. Lifted out to left field for Jose Cruz. And he makes the catch for out number 1. Thank you, sir. Now Keith Hernandez walking to the plate.
Mike Scott has thrown 31 pitches and 26 strikes so far. Wow. That is a wow. That is a wow.
Houston leading 1-0. Here's the matchup between Hernandez and Scott.
No other player in the National League has as many as 3 home runs against Mike Scott, and Hernandez has 5.
That's a base hit. The first one in the ball game for the New York Mets, and he just roped it into right field.
Well, the 1-0 count again. Mike Scott, I say again, a situation in which a pitcher has fallen behind. And it seems to be that's the way you've got to treat both of these pitchers. Hope they get behind in the count, look for a pitch, and then try to nail it.
So here's a threat at the plate now. Long ball threat in Gary Carter. Struck out his first time, as did Hernandez his first time. And Scott throws in with a strike. Foul back, and Gary had his cut. He had a fastball up and didn't get it.
He's not going to get that pitch again either. He's going to get split finger fastballs, especially the way Gary reacted to those pitches his first time up.
Scott ahead, 2 strikes. Hernandez off first, 1 out. Pitch inside and low.
That was the same pitch that Carter struck out on the first time up. You know the amazing thing, Keith, about Mike Scott, he's only thrown 3 wild pitches all year, which says something about Alan Ashby and the job he's done behind the plate.
Swing and a miss by Carter. Two down. That's 6 strikeouts now for Scott.
Well, this pitch is just unhittable. The split finger fastball, and watch it drop.
Darryl Strawberry with 2 down, and Keith Hernandez on first base in the top of the 4th inning, and it's outside. The 6 strikeouts, 5 have been swinging, and 1 called. The one caught looking was Strawberry.
Tell you, the Mets complaining about the illegal pitch that Scott's been throwing. They ought to complain about the legal one. That's a split finger fastball.
Bouncer to the second baseman, Doran. Flip over to second baseman to Reynolds for the 4th on Hernandez coming down, and the side is retired. But the Mets pick up their first hit of the ball game. In the middle of the 4th, it's 1-0 Astros. All right, Eastern time here on ABC 7 Central. We'll have game number 2 of the National League Championship Series. Starting pitchers will be Ojeda 18-5 for the Mets, and Nolan Ryan 12-8 for the Astros. That'll be at 8 Eastern with the game number 3 between the Boston Red Sox and California Angels in the American League Championship Series coming up on Friday night at the same time. Al Michaels and Jim Palmer and all of our guys and the 2 teams traveling from Boston to the West tomorrow. Boy, that thing turned around in a hurry in Boston today, didn't it?
9-2, the Red Sox over the California Angels. Some errant play on the defense by the Angels.
Kevin Bass is at the plate to be followed by Jose Cruz and Alan Ashby for Houston. As we work now in the bottom of the 4th inning, the Astros leading on Glenn Davis' home run 1-0. Ball is bounced to Keith Hernandez, and another good play by the Mets first baseman. They're out number 1. And the sound you're hearing in the background is for Jose Cruz. To left field for a base hit. 1 hop to Mookie Wilson, and Cruz is aboard. That's base hit number 4 for Houston.
Fastball outside part of the plate, and you see that inimitable style of Jose Cruz. And if he were playing in a big media center like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, his name would be from coast to coast.
His truck would have chrome wheels. Alan Ashby at the plate now with 1 out. Shot to right, base hit. Cruz turns at second. Strawberry picks it up in a hurry and whips it back in. Back-to-back singles now. Cruz stopping at second. Ashby's on first. Craig Reynolds coming to the plate while Gary Carter and company go to the mound to have a visit. Mel Stottlemyre is standing there with Davy Johnson. Mel, of course, great pitcher for the Yankees in his playing days. And Davy Johnson has all the confidence in the world. He let Stottlemyre handle that staff. What about Gooden? You know him, Tim, as well as anybody.
His problems this year, well, they're a combination of a lot of things. His 3rd year in the league, a lot of the hitters are laying off the pitch that's a ball, the high fastball. And Gooden has talked about trying to carry the load earlier in the year. He got his mechanics messed up. He started striding too far.
Runners take an edge, and the pitch to Craig Reynolds is foul back, and he jumped on that fastball again.
I think a lot of baseball people, when they talk about a pitcher overthrowing, what they really mean is that he's overstriding, consequently not getting on top of the ball. You hear that expression so many times. That certainly was one of the problems this year. Early wildness in the count and counts, which he has shown tonight, and yet he trails only 1-0.
To the left side, base hit into left field. Here comes Cruz around third, and Menke holds him. As Mookie Wilson comes in a hurry, respecting Wilson's arm, there was no threat to send Cruz home. The bases are loaded once again for the Houston pitcher, Mike Scott. Back in the 2nd inning, with 1 out, the bases loaded. He could have helped himself mightily. Here's the base hit now into left.
Reynolds just poking that ball to left field. Ray Knight didn't pick that ball up. You saw him move back toward the bag. He didn't pick that ball up real well. And now Mike Scott is going to talk to Dennis Menke, the 3rd base coach. And if you were thinking about a squeeze play in the 2nd inning, the fact that Scott struck out swinging on 3 straight pitches and Billy Hatcher went down might be an indication that the squeeze, certainly there's no other reason for Menke to be talking to Mike Scott.
That's right, and the New York Mets now have had a conference at the mound with all of the infielders, and they're undoubtedly thinking along the same highway.
And this is how a squeeze sign is delivered. The coach gives it to the batter. The batter does something unusual, like looks back if he's not used to looking back, and then that relays it back to the coach, and the word sign goes to the runner. Sounds complicated, but it happens in a split second.
Hernandez is poised to come at first. Scott swings and fouls it back.
The speed of the runner at third base is insignificant in a squeeze play. As a matter of fact, Eddie Stanky used to tell us when he was training us about what to do on a squeeze, to take one step back toward third to prevent from breaking too soon.
Scott swung away at the first pitch. And now Gooden bluffs, screws back toward third. Jose is not the Jose of a few years ago in foot speed either. And he has had arthroscopy earlier this year. Two-strike pitch to Scott. Bounce to the shortstop. Second for one. Back to first. They get the double play. And once again, Gooden dodges a bullet. As in the second inning, and now in the fourth inning, the Astros have the bases loaded with one out and can't break through against him. So after four, it is still Houston 1 and the Mets nothing.
Very nice, but here you see a group of 30 people coming through an airport, and here they come. So at one time I remember going through the old airport in Chicago, and I hadn't had it on. I had received permission not to wear it that day because I had an appointment in Chicago. And someone came up to me and asked me who these guys were, and I said they were an ice skating team from Houston, Texas, which was not the truth.
They were trying times, but the Astros' trying times were not as trying as the Mets were.
That's right. 1962 Mets lost 120 games. But speaking of the uniforms nowadays, Tony Kornheiser of the Washington Post says that the uniforms the Astros wear this year look like that something was spilled in third place at a kindergarten arts fair.
Well, they're going to go. They'll satisfy the sartorial appetites by going to plain white at home and light blues on the road. Going back to the old classic uniform next year.
And not to Washington.
And not to Washington. Mookie Wilson, Ray Knight, and Rafael Santana are the scheduled hitters for the Mets in the top of the fifth inning. Mike Scott rolling along, having given one hit so far. The Astros have picked up 6 off Dwight Golden. And Wilson jammed a little bit, slips it back foul. So it's 2 strikes on Mookie. Scott, when he pitched his no-hitter, got a $5,000 bonus from the ball club, and he gave the money to the Texas Children's Hospital, saying simply they need it more than I do. Fouled again to the left side. Up the middle, flag by Scott. Helps himself defensively there, and you've got one out.
Well, he had to make the play to get Wilson.
Yeah,
if that ball gets through, then you have Reynolds making a very difficult play because there's not too many guys in the National League that get down to first base from the left side faster than Wilson. The one thing that a pitching coach hates to see is anytime you put that bare hand near a ball coming back, especially on the artificial surface, because that ball has such overspin that it can just slice up that right hand.
Ray Knight hits it long and deep down the left side, but we foul.
That's an upper decker.
Yeah.
Holy cow. It's been a home run in a round park.
Ray, of course, the husband of Nancy Lopez Knight. Outside with that pitch. I would imagine, in fact, Ray confirmed that they have some interesting conversations in talking about the mechanics of the swings in their respective sport, of course. Nancy, the brilliant lady golfer. And there are different mechanics, but still at the same time there are some similarities as well. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes now. The mayor of Houston, Kathy Whitmire, enjoying what's happening in her city right now.
And if the Astros beat the Mets in this 4 out of 7 series, Kathy's picture will adorn the backdrop on the David Letterman show.
Swing and a miss. And that's strikeout number 7 for Mike Scott. 2 down for the Mets. And it's Rafael Santana.
Over the top. And the over-the-top swing is what you get a lot of times when you're trying to hit that split-finger fastball, because it goes down so dramatically.
That's shot sharply to left. 1 bounce to Cruz. And Santana, who had scorched a liner that Doran made a great play on his first time up, nailed this one sharply. Actually, he's had more wood on the ball, I think, than anybody in the batting order.
Hit the ball hard, and that nice play, as you said, by Doran the first time, and now the base hit to left that was hit very well.
2 hits off Scott, and here's Dwight Gooden. Dwight, 1 of the 7 strikeouts for Scott so far. Fisted to the right side for Doran, flips it over to Davis, and the side is retired. So the Mets get their 2nd hit, strand their 3rd man of the ball game, and trail 1-0. We move now to the bottom of the 5th inning in the opening game of the National League Championship Series for 1986. Houston Astros are leading 1-0 over the New York Mets, and the top of the order for Houston, Billy Hatcher, Bill Doran, and Denny Walling. Breaking pitch is too high. Al Lanier, the manager of these Astros, his rookie season, came here. He had a ball club, literally, that was moving base to base. But he had just finished 5 years with Whitey Herzog, and he brought a lot of Whitey's philosophy with him. Al Lanier, of course, the son of Max Lanier, who pitched in a couple of World Series in the 40s. Left-hander. Gooden now goes to 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, with the exception of the 1st and 3rd innings, Dwight's pattern has been to fall behind the first hitter. And that is a dangerous pattern that eventually catches up to you.
He has the pitch on the outside corner, and it was on the black. It wasn't anywhere near the heart of the plate, but he got the call from Doug Harvey.
You might see Hatcher take another pitch, because the 3-2 pitch is going to be the same as the 3-1.
Outside, ball 4. That's the 2nd walk given by Gooden. Now it's Bill Doran, who has a good look. Down at 3rd, the coach Dennis Menke. A lot of the scouts confirmed the fact that Gooden ranks toward the bottom 10 or so in the National League in holding runners on. Well, that's a point that David Johnson made in the pregame show. Both staffs get it to the plate slowly. Gooden fires over to first to keep him there. And if you go to this clock, and baseball thrives on numbers, no question about it. But his delivery to the plate clocked at about 164 with a runner on first base, 1-8 with a runner on second. Most pitchers will fall into that category of 1-3, 1-4. So he's a little slow getting it up there. But in the process of learning the art of pitching, he is going more and more to the bag to hold that runner as close as he can.
Well, after his first year, he went down to Florida. As you take a look at Hernandez, and he went down and worked on that move, and it's the old Don Drysdale Dodger move, and it's technically a balk where they put weight on the left leg and then throw to first.
They pitch out on Hatcher, and Hatcher is not going.
Tell you, you don't often see that. 2 throws to first base and then the pitch out. So a new wrinkle in pitching out. More often than not, if you throw to first base, you're not going to pitch out because the reason you throw to first base is to get the runner back toward first.
Hatcher back on his tummy. Of course, at the same time, that base runner, lulled by the norm, might be thinking he's thrown over here twice. Now he's going to go to the plate, and I'm going to go to second.
He was lulled by something then. You could see the weight on the right foot. He was gone. And a very close throw and a quick tag by Hernandez, but he appeared to be in there.
See, Hatcher's got a couple of gloves in his hand. Well, that's cushion for that hand. You like to have something in that hand when you go sliding into the bag.
To keep the hand closed and not open.
Right. Beat up the fingers. He goes. Pitches inside. Carter throws. Bounces off Hatcher and rolls at him behind the shortstop position. So Hatcher steals second base.
And he stole second base on as good a throw as you'll see. Gary Carter on a very difficult chance. Watch how he has to go inside for the pitch. And a quick release, and the ball arrives with Hatcher. I mean, that ball is right on the money. But that's how quick Hatcher is, and that's how good a jump he had. Boom.
Against Gooden, in 3 years, that's now 106 stolen bases. 19 have been caught. Those are heavy numbers. Now Doran has a chance to drive the ball. 2 balls and no strike count on him. Hits it hard, but foul. Down the right side, and he got all of it. Ball is bounced to the right side to Hernandez, who will do it himself, and Doran moves the runner over to third. Now with 1 out, here is Denny Walling with a chance to deliver Houston's second one of the ball game. Fouled away to the left side, and in this particular matchup, it's advantage Gooden with 2 strikes. Fisted foul on the third base side. He really jammed it.
Yeah, that was the pitch Gooden and Carter wanted right there, but the good hitters foul pitches like that off. Very frustrating when you get a hitter to a situation where if you make that good pitch, you're going to get him out, and then he fouls it off, and that's what Walling did then. They may come right back in there. But again, the difference when a hitter is on the defensive, it's 0-2 as opposed to 2-0.
Punches it on the ground. Shortstop has it. Throw to the plate. And Hatcher is out. Out number 2, and down at first base, Walling on the fielder's choice. So the drawn-in infield in this instance pays off.
Good play by Santana. Hatcher off on contact. He did not really have a good jump. If the infield's in, regardless of your speed, you've got to make sure you cheat somewhere. And usually that's getting the good jump off a third. He didn't, and it's academic. This never hurts catchers. This is no problem. Watch how Carter just prepares himself for the collision. He really never touched him. You don't have to.
2 down. The only run in the game, a leadoff home run of the second inning at 400 feet by Glenn Davis. And Davis is at the plate right now. Fisted in the air to right center, where Strawberry makes the catch for the 3rd out. And so once again, Dwight Gooden escapes. It's 1-0 Houston. Back after this word from our local station.
You know, there's a brand new sport catching on here in Texas. It's called trash ball. Instead of throwing your stuff out along the road, just pitch it in the nearest trash can. It's easy, it's fun, it's a Texas thing to do. Now I call this pitch my split finger trash ball. Oops, that one got away from me.
There's your line score in the ball game as we move along to the top of the 6th inning for the New York Mets and Len Dykstra, Wally Backman, and Keith Hernandez against Mike Scott. The Mets have 2 hits. They got their first hit in the 4th inning by Hernandez. The second hit was a solid single to left by Rafael Santana. Dykstra is 0 for 2. Slides up that bat handle, showing bunt. And he will put it down because he does have good speed. He's also has a tendency sometimes, or likes to, take a whack at it. Slide the hands up the bat and then punch it. Slap at it. Got that third baseman creeping in. Denny Walling coming down the line at third. And Mike Scott now goes to 2 balls and no strikes.
And that's what he did then. He was going to move up and then take a hack at it. But I'll tell you, he was out of the batter's box when he did it. Len Dykstra with those constantly moving fingers on the bat. Check him out.
2-1. And the fastball is in for the strike.
Doug Harvey telling Davey Johnson he ducked under it. Check out these fingers now.
3-1. They're nervous fingers, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
First walk of the game by Scott. And now here comes Backman.
And when the Mets have scored all season long, this is the scene that you see. Backman hitting with Dykstra on first.
And Scott intent on holding as close as possible.
First time in this game that the Mets have gotten the leadoff batter on.
It is just outside.
Ashby continues to look at Hal Lanier in the dugout. This is an ideal running situation.
Lifted to left field. Cruz going back. Turns his back. Makes it over the shoulder. Catch against the wall. And Dykstra has to hustle back to first. Like a wide receiver on a post pattern, didn't he?
Well, this is an unusual version of the hit and run. Backman hits it. Now watch Cruz run. This is a very, very good play by Jose Cruz. Right in your dining room. Man.
So 1 out, and we have seen some outstanding defensive plays, that being the 4th one of the ball game. Keith Hernandez, who is 1 for 2, is at the plate now. His last trip back in the 4th inning hit a solid shot over the second baseman's head into right center for a base hit.
Hernandez will peek, and I don't mean peek for the signs, but he'll see where a catcher is setting up. Watch his shifty eyes here. Not now, it's too late.
They pitch out. And Dykstra going nowhere. The Astros having squandered 2 big scoring opportunities in this ball game, leading 1-0. And the Mets now trying to manifest a threat in the top of the 6th inning. That throw was a little wild, as Davis had to go over the top of Dykstra, and now Lenny wants to unload about 4 pounds of dirt out of his britches.
That's an excellent play by Glenn Davis. If this ball goes in the right corner, Dykstra's on third base.
Bluffs doesn't go, and the pitch is high. It's 2 balls and no strikes, and now Scott getting a little deeper. Dykstra walked to lead the inning. Backman chased Cruz to the wall and left, and the pitch is on the outside corner for a strike. 2-1 now on Hernandez. Keith having a long look at Bud Harrelson down at third. Bud out of the coaching box at third, sort of back of the bag.
Well, the 2-1 count, probably the most ideal count on which to hit and run. Davy Johnson, a manager like Hal Lanier, who loves to put the runners in motion.
Dykstra goes. Pitch is foul back. And Hernandez comes out of there jaw set because he had his pitch.
Well, all a manager can do is get you a good pitch where you can drive it, where you can hit the ball hard on the ground. And that's what Davy Johnson was trying to do. He got him that pitch, and Keith missed it and fouled it back.
There's Bud Harrelson. Shortstop in times past for the Mets. 2-2 pitch to Hernandez. Dykstra does not go. And the pitch misses for 3 balls and 2 strikes. And for the second time in the inning, Scott has gone to a full count.
I'll tell you, that was a very, very close pitch. Hitters like Keith Hernandez are more apt to get pitches like that. And Doug Harvey has a very, very fair strike zone. He's always consistent. He's not going to give you that pitch 2 inches outside.
What do you say? If you want a 25-inch plate, put one out there. It's 17 inches. That's all you're going to get.
Dykstra definitely running right here, I would think, with Hernandez. A contact hitter up at the plate.
Full count. Dykstra goes. Good break. And the throw through to second base as Hernandez is called out by Harvey and did not like it.
Well, I don't think Ashby liked it either. Hernandez very upset, and umpires obviously have a longer fuse during the playoff series.
That is the second out.
I'll tell you why catchers don't like it, because Alan Ashby got a late call, and for that reason delayed in throwing the ball to second base. With the count 3-1, 3-2, you ask the umpire for a quick call. Harvey calls it a strike. Now you can see Ashby doesn't know, so he figures I'll throw it anyway. Obviously, if it's ball 4, then he doesn't want to throw to second base. Dykstra does have a stolen base, and Hernandez is continuing.
He is not pleased, though the pitch, it was on the black.
Well, it was a very, very close pitch, I'll tell you.
Yes, it was. Now it's Gary Carter. Two down, and Dykstra at second base.
I think because Doug Harvey called the 2-2 pitch a ball, Hernandez felt like the 3-2 pitch should have been called a ball.
2-2 may have been more in the strike area, accepted norm at least, than 3-2.
We were just talking about Doug's consistency too. But he is an excellent umpire and a very consistent umpire.
Bouncing ball at third, foul. Stops it, foul, and it's 1-2. Hernandez is still hot. In this inning, he has gone to a full count. Guys, his colleagues are trying to calm him down a tad in the dugout, where Hernandez is still steaming over that third strike call by Doug Harvey. 3-2 to Carter. Strike 3. 9 strikeouts. He has struck out Gary Carter 3 times. In the middle of the 6th, it is 1-0. The Houston Astros leading the New York Mets. There's one of the senior members of the umpiring corps of the National League, And Keith Hernandez came out to his first base position still steaming. But let's go back to Gary Carter on the pitch he struck out on.
This ball is right down the middle of the plate. And remember, we were talking about the psychological advantage of the split finger fastball. That was a regular fastball right down Broadway. And Gary Carter was the first to take issue with Doug Harvey earlier in the ball game. And he just took that pitch, and with a man in scoring position, you rarely see Carter do that.
All right, for Houston, Kevin Bass hits a bullet for right, base hit. So the leadoff man in the bottom of the 6th inning for Houston is aboard. Remember now, the Astros squandered big opportunities in the 2nd and 4th innings. Now, once again, they get that leadoff man aboard. And here is Jose Cruz.
Also in the 5th inning with a runner at 3rd and 1 out.
Right.
With the infield end. Denny Walling grounded to Santana, who nailed Hatcher at home.
Jose Cruz has a single in his 2 previous trips. The Astros now have a total of 7 hits off Dwight Golden. Poor Cruz made a great play defensively in this inning on Beckman. Curveball bites the outside corner for a strike.
Probably the most important defensive play. Because while Hernandez made 2 good plays, Knight made another good play, but no one was on when they made them. Hernandez still seething about that called strike 3 on that 3-2 pitch.
Broken bat on that one. So Jose will get another stick as the ball goes foul. And Cruz strikes out on a fastball eye high. That is the 2nd strikeout in the game for Dwight Gooden. 1 out now for Alan Ashby. Ashby has 1 of the 7 hits.
If a curveball is flashed by the catcher and a left-handed hitter is more apt to pull the ball, then you'll find that the shortstop should cover. There's Santana, the shortstop, receiving the sign from Backman.
And the pitch is high. 0-1.
The reason the glove is held up obviously in front of the infielder's face is so the hitter can't tell who's covering. Because there are major league players with good enough bat control to take advantage of the vacated hole.
Bass edges. Goes. Pitch. Curveball. Carter's throw. Not in time. Bass steals it.
And Santana was covering. A tough pitch to throw. A breaking ball on the 2-1 count. And the breaking ball tougher to throw because it's a slower pitch. And it gives the runner that extra 1.5 yards. And Bass has it stolen easily. No contest.
So with 1 out now, you got the runner in scoring position for Ashby with a count of 3 balls and 1 strike. And Houston still clinging to that 1-0 lead. It's been the pitching duel we thought we'd see. Ashby walks. The 3rd walk by Gooden. And now it's Craig Reynolds for the opportunity. I tell you, if Mike Scott comes up with the bases loaded again and doesn't do something with it, he's going to have a fit. Because Scott is now on deck.
Reynolds does not have a lot of pop the other way. He has line drive type of hitting ability the other way. Wilson too deep in left field right now.
Breaking pitch is low.
What a lot of outfielders do, the opposite fielders, They like to start off deep and then walk in as the pitch is on its way. And that's what Wilson elects to do here. But even when he ends up, he's too deep in left field. You know, it's hard to believe. Mike Scott never came up during the regular season with the bases loaded. And he's done it twice in this game. Got a shot at doing it again. What's going on here?
Ball is hit high in the air to right field. Room for Strawberry. Steps just on the track, makes the catch, Bass tags and hustles on down to third, 2 out. Ashby remaining at first base. And so once again, Mike Scott comes to the plate with an opportunity to help himself, but not in the same dramatic proportions the 2 previous trips.
Well, he bats like he pitches. He strands a lot of runners as a pitcher, and he does the same thing as a hitter.
Well, if the pitcher ever needed the lesson to bear down, help himself do some extra work in the cage, this would be a classic example. A great argument for a manager with all the Lindsays are now trained on Scott and Goodman. And a high foul to the right side, out of play. Astros have stranded 5 so far.
That was Dwight Gooden's 97th pitch of the game. What is the average? About 110 to 115. But I don't think Davy Johnson's as concerned with Gooden's amount of pitches as Hal Lanier is with Mike Scott, because Scott may come back on Sunday.
For the simple reason that Davy Johnson is committed to a 4-man rotation, right? Whereas Hal Lanier is committed to a 3-man rotation. He's gone. Struck him out looking. So the Astros strand 2 more. They'd have now left 7 on base, and they lead 1-0 after 6. Original Mets was named Richie Ashburn, one of the colorful figures in baseball history. His memories of the Mets go like this from 1962.
Well, I made the first out in Mets history in the opening game in St. Louis. So, you know, when you think about the Mets, you have to think about Casey and Marvelous Marv Thornberry and Choo Choo Coleman, but I didn't think it was going to be a very good year. I joined the Mets from the Chicago Cubs. I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. You know, we lost 120 ball games, and one of the odd things about that was that I think because of Casey Stengel, we thought we were going to win every game we played. Now, that's tough to do, you know, when you're losing 3 out of every 4 games. It was a year that I would never have repeated, but I tell you, I never would have missed it for anything.
It's certainly a piece of baseball history. Darryl Strawberry, Mookie Wilson, and Ray Knight. Let me correct the left on base by Houston. It is 8 and not 7 in 6 innings. And now Strawberry leads the top of the 7th for the Mets. Mike Scott still on the mound, having given only 2 base hits. In the 6th inning, he went to a full count, 3-2 on 3 hitters. And it took a great defensive play by Jose Cruz in left field against the wall, over the shoulder, running catch. Backman's long drive to keep the Mets off the scoreboard. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Strawberry. That lady has particular pride in the night. Mike Scott's mom. Having come from California. It's way upstairs. So now Scott seems to be struggling just a bit with his mechanics, doesn't he?
He looks out of sync. He did in the 6th inning. He struggled. He walked Dykstra, but then he came back to strike out Hernandez and Carter after Dykstra had stolen second.
That pitch is up high, and again he's gone to a full count, 3-2. Darryl Strawberry, of course, was a heralded #1 pick in the nation by the Mets in the 1980 free agent draft out of Los Angeles. don't know if he's swung at a strike or not. I don't think so. He strikes out anyway.
Out of 6 pitches, I agree with you. All were balls, and Darryl Strawberry goes down on the 3-2 count. I'll tell you, I don't guess it's ever understandable to swing at bad pitches, but if there were ever a pitcher where it would be understandable because of Scott's movement, it's understandable when you swing at bad balls against him. Ball's moving all over the place.
He now has 10 strikeouts in the ball game, and here's Mookie Wilson, hitless in 2 trips. Way up with that one. Starting to fuss with himself a little bit, too. You can see him walking around. There's Vicky. That's White.
I think that swallow tells everything about the pace of this game so far.
Ashby out for a talk now with a big right-hander. Back to the screen.
You wonder, after the success that Scott has had with that split finger fastball, that as you see Les Moss going out to talk to him, probably about what you just mentioned, Keith, his rhythm. He looks out of sync. It looks like arms and elbows, but he's been so successful with that split finger fastball. And he says that the week with Roger Craig was like a vacation, if you can believe it. Said he had 1.5-hour sessions broken down into 20 minutes of throwing. And then they talked the rest of the time. Most of the day played golf, went to the movies.
1-1 pitch to Mookie. And it's high.
So it was not as grueling as one might think to learn that pitch of success.
Two and one to Mookie. Well, he got one in that time. 2-2. Lifted into right. Bass on his horse. Makes the catch. Makes it look easy. 2 down. And now Ray Knight. Raymond in the game has struck out and hit a fly ball to center. And it required a rather good running catch by Billy Hatcher coming in to get him. We get some stirring around in the Mets pen. McDowell getting up and starting to loosen up in the New York Mets bullpen.
I tell you, I'm not much of an advocate of guarding the line, but because of the unusual release of Scott's split finger fastball, if you get a pitch down and in, there's Walling on the line, then Knight could conceivably smoke it down the left field line for a double. So in this case, I suppose it's all right. Al Lanier certainly thinks it's all right.
Outside corner. Ray doesn't like it and walks away. Roger McDowell is a pitcher too, and the only pitcher of the Mets that you could say has been pummeled by Houston. He's 0-3.
There's that tailing fastball again. Ashby doing a remarkable job of mixing Scott's pitches up tonight.
And he's got a 1-2 count on Ray Knight with 2 down. Base is empty. Popped him up. It's going to come back out of play. Get aboard. Santana should do something. Then obviously Davy Johnson with McDowell heating up would be ready to make a move.
He may make a move with Santana and put Danny Heap or Lee Mazzilli in there to pinch hit for him.
Good. Back to the mound. Gloved by Scott. Second time tonight he's flagged down a hot one up the middle. Ray Knight is retired, and so are the New York Mets. So in the middle of the 7th inning, it is still a 1-run ball game. Houston leading 1-0.
IBM presents You Make the Call. A catcher fails in his attempt to throw out a base runner stealing third. But a closer look shows that he was interfered with by the umpire's leg. Does the stolen base stand? You make the call. An umpire can call interference on himself and send the runner back to the base he came from. So if you said the stolen base did not stand, then you made the right call.
A 1-0 game. Houston leads. Astros batting. Bottom of the 7th inning. Dwight Gooden back on the mound. Delivers to the top of the order. Billy Hatcher. And it's fouled away for strike one. Bill Doran and Denny Wallen are scheduled to follow. 2-strike pitch. It's up. Dwight Gooden coming into the playoff series with a 2.84 earned run average and a 17-6 record. And though he has struggled tonight, his ball club is still right there. He struck out Hatcher, and he may have done it on a pitch out of the strike zone. But he did it with a blazing fastball.
I'll tell you, I think it's more than coincidence that 3 of the 4 strikeouts for Gooden has come in the last inning and a third. 3 of the last 4 outs recorded have come on strikeouts. And you mentioned that he may be tiring, but I'll tell you, Dwight Gooden does have, as that guy can tell you,
he's tired.
He does. He does have the ability to reach back for a little extra when he needs it.
Somebody ought to wake him up and remind him that seat costs a lot of money.
You know, usually 1-0. Usually 1-0 games do put the crowd asleep, but not this game. This is a marvelous ball game.
Make it 1-1. Ross and Lanier talking right there. Probably talking to the position man upstairs, I suppose.
Or behind home plate. They do have a radar gun behind home plate.
That ball is looped out into left. Mookie Wilson drifts back and will make the catch for out number 2.
They may be checking on the speed of Scott the last inning, or the last half inning. They talk about that gun as being a slow gun, a slow radar gun. I've never quite understood that some are slower than others, but that is one of the slower radar guns.
Maybe that's the one that caught the mailbox going 27 miles an hour.
The tree, huh?
Denny Walling is at the plate. Denny is hitless in 3 trips tonight. And Dwight starts him on the outside corner with a strike. Foul back.
A lot of people discount the fact that it's the playoffs. Gut-wrenching pressure. I'm telling you, it makes the World Series look like a picnic. And almost every player that I've talked to, including myself, agrees that it is. I'm telling you, water goes down in lumps. Water tastes like a well-done steak. I'm telling you.
2-strike pitch, and Walling fouls it at the plate and stays alive. With 2 out, nobody on. A 1-0 ball game. McDowell now is quiet. He's gone back to the dugout.
Gene Tennis told Jerry Klein and I a story before the ball game, and he said that Blue Moon Odom was pitching in the 1972 playoff series against the Detroit Tigers, and after 6 innings he came in, he started shaking, and he just crying. He could not go back out there for the 7th inning. Pressure was absolutely too much for him.
Took something off the curve, and it dipped just below the strike zone, and it's 1-2.
I mean, when a guy with over 4,200 hits, and I'm talking about Pete Rose, the only one to ever do it, talks about the playoffs as though it were a vice, then you know you got to listen.
Walling swings and misses and strikes out. So Gooden now with 5 strikeouts in the ball game. He's heating up. We'll be back after this word from your local station. We'll figure importantly in what happens for the California Angels in the American League Championship Series. Holds the National League Championship Series record for strikeouts in a game when he was with Pittsburgh with 14. Mike Scott tonight has 10. And right now Scott goes out to face Lee Mazzilli. Mazzilli, with 54 appearances as a pinch hitter, came up with 8 hits since coming back to the Mets. And Scott starts him out with a strike.
It's amazing how some things happen. In spring training, rumor had it that the Pittsburgh Pirates turned down a trade Ray Knight for Lee Mazzilli. And then the Mets eventually picked up Lee Mazzilli later on in the season. As you see, Danny Heap, who will pinch hit for Gooden.
Heap, of course, was a member of the 1980 Houston team that lost in 5 games to the Phillies in the championship series. Mazzilli fouls it away to the left side. Well back. Of course, Mazzilli started with the New York Mets. 1986, though, he had a AAA contract and went down and gutted it out with Tidewater and played 6 games and got a call, and here he is. Young Italian, Brooklyn born, swings and misses and strikes out, and Scott has 11 tonight. Now here comes another left-handed hitter, Danny Heap.
So Mike Scott setting a National League playoff record with that 11th strikeout.
No, he's got 14. John
14.
Candelaria.
My fault.
Candelaria. I tell you, John looked pretty good his last couple of outings.
I'll tell you, I think Candelaria lost that ball game on a home run by Pete Rose, and I think that was lost that game, a home run by Pete Rose at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Danny Heap stands at the plate. And ball 1 to him. Dave Smith now, who has 33 saves, a new club record for Houston, is up in the pen for Houston. 1 out. Base is empty. Up the middle it goes. Hits the mound. Slows it down. Goes through Reynolds. And let's look back to Scott here quickly. He's a little slow to get up. He came down on his right hand and arm. But seems to be all right.
Well, the players talk about all the soft spots in this carpet, and it appeared the ball did some tricks when it was around second base. As Danny Heap will have a pinch runner insert, it's Kevin Elster, the young shortstop. That ball did a lot of funny tricks and stayed down, and Reynolds had no play.
So Elster with speed at first base now, and here's Lynn Dykstra. Orozco in the New York bullpen now, and Smith in the Houston bullpen. 1-0 Astros lead. Ball is hit to the right side. Great play, Doran. Back to first, throws it in the dirt, and Davis can't handle it, and there are 2 Mets aboard. Doran looked at second base. If he had given up on the runner going to second base and concentrated on Dykstra coming down the line, he might have gotten a play on him, but he took the time to look at second, as you'll see here, and he just simply couldn't twist and make the play.
1 look is worth 1,000 words, and in this case, about 2 steps. Had Davis held on to the ball hit the heel of his glove. Had he held on to it, possibility of getting the call at first. And an infield hit for Dykstra.
Now the Mets have 4 base hits. You have 1 out. Elster at second, Dykstra at first. The batter is Bachman, and on deck, guess who? Hernandez.
Where a left-handed reliever would come in handy now, too.
Yep.
You get Bachman out of the game and have Hernandez, but as we said in the opening, the Astros have to rely on Jim Deshays as their left-handed reliever.
I wouldn't think they want to go middle of the inning with Deshays either.
No, I don't either.
Start him all right, but not in the middle of the inning. That's a foul ball at the plate.
Yeah, bring in a man relegated primarily for short duty like a Dave Smith, even though you want Smith as your clincher. But a guy like Charlie Kerfeller, Larry Anderson, Danny Darwin, and then have Deshays start another inning.
We are in the top of the 8th inning. Houston leading 1-0. This would appear to be their most severe threat of the ball game. The pitch is high.
As a matter of fact, Keith, it's only the second runner that the Mets have had at second base. Nobody on third yet.
The inning started with Mazzilli striking out. Heat banged one back up the middle that Smith couldn't get to, Reynolds couldn't get to. And Dykstra grounded one to the right side that Doran made a great play on, but couldn't make a play at first base. Back swings and misses on the split-fingered fastball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. The only run scoring back in the second inning on a leadoff home run by Glenn Davis. Mike Scott dominant through 5, but since the 6th inning, he's been wobbly. Crowd coming up now. He has 11 strikeouts in the game. Two to Backman. Swung on and missed. He has 12 strikeouts. And more importantly, perhaps under this circumstance, he has 2 outs. But here comes a man with a purpose. Keith Hernandez. Here's the strikeout of Backman.
It appeared to be a fastball, and it was a fastball that tailed away. And that, more than any other pitch, is the pitch that Hernandez talks about. Scott scuffing and cutting is the tailing fastball that goes away from the left-handed hitter.
Now remember, Hernandez struck out looking back in the 6th inning with a man on second base, and he was furious about it, stormed about it for a full inning. Now he's up there. Two out and 2 on, and Hernandez looked downtown with that swing and missed it. 1 strike on Hernandez. Pitch is just high. This is an interesting matchup here as the tension builds and builds and builds. Hernandez and Scott. Foul left side, drifting back, and it's in the seats. One ball and 2 strikes.
Everybody on their feet, including the Mets dugout. Struck him out. Mike Scott has 13 strikeouts. He'll never do a better job of pitching than he just did against Keith Hernandez, and Houston still leads 1-0.
It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Keith Hernandez will look for the split-finger fastball and adjust to the fastball. It's 1-2. Here's the pitch. Hernandez! Keith Hernandez becomes strikeout victim number 13. As the Mets threaten, but Mike Scott strikes out Backman and Hernandez.
The 2 changes now for the New York Mets. Kevin Elster goes to shortstop, replacing Santana, and Orozco comes in the 8th inning in relief of Dwight Golden. And he faces Glenn Davis. Gooden, 7 innings, 7 hits. 1 run. It was earned, a 400-foot home run by Davis. He walked 3 and he struck out 5. And he threw 111 pitches. And Davis fishing against Orozco. Fouls it away, and it's 2 strikes. Orozco, with a record of 8-6, earned run average impressive 2.3, appeared in 58 games during the regular season. Kevin Bass on deck, Jose Cruz to follow. Davis fishing for an outside pitch. Knight comes in to grab the ground ball and throw him out by a half step. So that's one down. Now Bass 2 for 3, a single and a double in tonight's ball game, and this time Kevin will turn around and go from the right side, which is his power side. But Orozco, who moves the ball around, changes speeds, has something twisting on it all the time, a difficult man to take deep.
He throws a tailing fastball, a breaking ball, and he has been working on a split-fingered fastball.
And he's in with a strike. Bass hits it hard up the alley. Strawberry loping over those long legs, and he hauls it in. Deceptively fast. 2 down. CFA football this coming Saturday on ABC. Miami, #1 at West Virginia in Morgantown. Oklahoma, #6 at the Cotton Bowl against the Texas Longhorns. That follows our game on Saturday. We begin at noon Eastern Time, and then comes football, and then comes the American League Championship Series from the West between the Angels and the Red Sox. With 2 out, Jose Cruz in, swings and tips it foul back to the plate. 2 strikes on Jose. Orozco ready. At 1-2, struck him out. So Jesse Orozco comes on in the bottom of the 8th inning, and he puts down the Astros quietly, the middle of the order. And going to the 9th, it's 1-0 Houston.
In the top of the 9th inning, the last chance for the Mets. Mike Scott will pitch to the middle of the order. Gary Carter, Darryl Strawberry, and Mookie Wilson. Mike Scott has struck out Gary Carter 3 successive times and starts him with a strike here. One 0 Houston. Opening game, National League Championship Series. Strike 2 on a split-fingered fastball that just dove under the bat of Carter.
I'm a little surprised the Astro defense is not playing Carter as strictly a pull hitter, but I guess that's another indication of Scott's effectiveness.
Third base way. Walling's throw on the money. 1 out. Davy Johnson, Mel Stottlemyre, Gary Carter going to the dugout, shaking his head. 1984, this man Scott was at a crossroads in his career. Al Rosen, he says, was the man that stuck with him. And he thanks him for that. And he's turned it around. And here he is, facing Strawberry. And Darryl fouls it back. Strawberry has struck out twice tonight against Scott. Scott just 1 strikeout away from tying the National League Championship Series record held by John Candelaria at 14. Strawberry hits it hard. It is on a bounce and flagged by Kevin Bass. And that's base hit number 5 for the Mets, and they're still alive with Darryl on first base. That ball was nailed.
He just didn't get it up. As a matter of fact, the game that Scott started against Gooden, the only game this year, Darryl Strawberry tied that game with a 2-run homer off Dave Smith, who is continuing to throw in the Astro bullpen. Now one of the questions with Wilson hitting, do you send Strawberry at first? 27 stolen bases on the year. Make that 28.
Mookie Wilson at the plate. Ray Knight to the on-deck circle. You got 1 out. And a swing and a foul at the plate. Wilson has struck out, bounced back to the pitcher, and hit a fly ball to right field. That's a foul ball, and it's strike 2. Ojeda and Ryan tomorrow night in Game 2, beginning at 8 Eastern Time here on ABC. 2-strike pitch to Wilson. Strawberry goes, pitch is high, throw too late. He's stolen it. Big jump.
Yeah, he picked an outstanding pitch on which to run. The bad news, if you elect to run on the 0-2 pitch, is a catcher feels comfortable calling for a pitch out. But that was a waste pitch, and Alan Ashby did not get rid of the ball in a hurry, and Strawberry has it easily.
1-2 coming to Wilson. Fouled away. To right, smothered by Davis. Throws to the pitcher covering at first. And what did he call him? Called him out. Got a beef from Bill Robinson. The umpire, Lee Wire, is over showing where Scott hit the bag with his foot. And you got 2 down. And how close can it be as Strawberry hustled over to third?
Well, I'll tell you, Glenn Davis is saying Keith Hernandez is not the only guy who can play defense. The dive and then the throw to Scott. Robinson's contention was that he did not touch the bag. We'll see.
Yeah, looks like he did.
Looked as though he did to me.
Yep, he did. In fact, he's got his toe hooked under
that's
it.
right. That's right. The agony of defeat.
Oh, of defeat, yes. Now it's up to Ray Knight with Strawberry on third in a 1-0 ball game. 2 down for the Mets. Just low. The former Astro. Here's another look at the play at first. There's no question about the fact the man sticks his foot right in underneath the bag.
He touched the bag with the tip of his right foot.
Ray Knight, who played here, struggled here. Swings and fouls it away. And it's 1-1. Howard Johnson has come to the on-deck circle now for the New York Mets. If Knight can do something. The pitcher, Orozco, would be scheduled next. That's why Johnson's out there. It is just off the outside corner. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
By the way, Darryl Strawberry is the first Met to reach third base in this ball game.
The battle right now is between Scott and Knight. 2-1. 2-2. And Knight screams over the call.
Well, we'll see if Ray has a legitimate beef or not. On the 2-1 split finger fastball. It's very close. Very, very close.
Everybody up. It's 2-2 with 2 out. The tying run at third base in the top of the 9th inning for the Mets. Mike Scott trying to win it right here. Struck him. That's strikeout 14. It ties the National League Championship Series record. The Houston Astros have defeated the New York Mets by a score of 1-0 on a 5-hitter by Mike Scott.
Now a big moment for the veteran. Here's the pitch. Outside. Full strike 2, and Knight can't believe it either. I didn't think it was close. Knight is barking at Harvey. Harvey yanks off his mask.
Ray Knight has a reason to be upset. Doug sits on the inside part of the plate. You see the ball come across and you see it dip. Well, it looked worse the way Ashby caught it. It actually was up around the knee. But the way Ashby caught it, protecting against the pass ball, I can't blame Ray Knight for being more upset.
And it goes to 2-2, and here's the crowd. Tying run on at third. On the strike. Here's the pitch. Oh, and this, that's it. My God. Strikes out 14 Mets. He shuts the New Yorkers out on 5 hits. And he gives the Astros a leg up in this National League Championship Series.
Mike Scott on 125 pitches wins the ball game. A 5-hitter. He walked 1, struck out 14. He got Carter 3 times, Hernandez 3 times, Strawberry twice, Knight twice, Backman, Wilson, Mazzilli, and Gooden once, for a total of 14, which ties the National League Championship Series strikeout record held by John Candelaria when he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So Mike Scott, 18-10 on the regular season, but finished with a flourish, clinching it for Houston with a no-hitter, is the winner here in the Astrodome tonight. We'll talk to him in a moment. All right, let's turn our attention now to Mike Scott, who was absolutely, as the sign says, sensational tonight. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
125 pitches in the ball game tonight. Now, what does this mean in looking ahead to your second call?
Well, I've pitched with 3 days rest before. I think my body will be strong enough. I don't have any problem getting pumped up. My arm felt good towards the end of the game today, so, I've done that about 13 or 14 times this year, and I had no problem throwing a 3 days rest earlier.
Mike, with Al Rosen so instrumental in your career, and of course Roger Craig, it seems a little strange that they're both with the San Francisco Giants now.
Well, that's the way things turn out. Roger talked to me before he got the job over there, and I was lucky he was between jobs when he taught me that pitch, or else I'd be in trouble.
In the 6th inning, you had a man on second base, and in the 8th inning, there was a moment of wobble. Was there any time when you felt that I thought you were fussing a little bit, maybe in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning with your mechanics?
Well, in the 7th inning, I struggled a little bit. I kept getting the ball up. I tried to stay back. Obviously, Les Masters told me that I wasn't at the time, and I got things together after that. But I had a little problems in the 7th inning getting the ball down.
When Gary Carter, Mike, when he complained about you possibly scuffing the ball in the 1st inning, did you feel like that was a psychological advantage for you?
Well, I don't think it makes any difference to me. That's been going on ever since I learned the pitch, and it certainly wasn't a surprise that he did that. They've been talking about it for a month, so I don't think it makes any difference to me. If they think I'm doing things like that, I think it helps me.
Well, we look forward to seeing a Craftsman work again. You've had a marvelous season, and it looks to me like you've got some other things in mind before this one is done.
Thank you, Keith.
Mike Scott, the winner in tonight's ball game. A 5-hitter. He struck out 14 to tie the National League Championship Series record and won it 1-0.